Okay, picture this. You're in a high school hallway. You know the one. The lockers are that familiar faded color. The floor has that specific squeak. And you can feel the weight of a backpack you haven't worn in years. There's this knot just forming in your stomach.
Why? Because you have a final exam in like a few minutes, and it's for a class you completely forgot you were even taking. You haven't been to a single lecture all year. You are absolutely going to fail. That feeling of panic, it feels so real, doesn't it? And then you wake up.
Whew. That anxiety dream, or, some version of it, is a startlingly common experience. It's like this private movie that your brain directs, produces, and screens just for you every single night. The whole shebang. And it really makes you wonder.
Why? I mean, why does your brain do this to you every night? Why put you through these strange, super emotional, and let's be honest, totally illogical stories while you sleep? What is even the point of dreaming?
All right, so let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about that dream everyone seems to have. Then, we'll look at what your brain is actually doing. After that, we'll explore the real purpose of dreaming, tackle why you can't always trust your memory of them, and we'll finish up with something amazing, how your dreams can be a creative superpower. Okay, first up, that dream you have. It's funny, right? Our dreams feel so intensely personal. I mean, you're the one being chased or failing that test. But the themes themselves, they're surprisingly universal. You know that high school dream we just talked about? It feels like your specific nightmare, right? But get this. It's actually built from the blueprints of anxieties that people share all over the world, across different cultures and continents. These common threads are a pretty big hint that dreaming isn't just random brain noise. It's tapping into something really fundamental about being human. So, what exactly is going on in our heads to produce these shared stories? Well, that brings us to section 2, your brain on dreams. See, to really get the why, we first have to understand the how. Like, what is your brain actually doing when it clocks out for the night? Okay, so throughout the night, your brain cycles through 4 different stages of sleep. You drift through the light stuff in stages 1 and 2. Then you hit that really deep, restorative sleep in stage 3. But the main event, at least for us right now, is stage 4, REM sleep. That stands for rapid eye movement. And while you can technically dream in any stage, your most vivid, most memorable, most movie-like dreams, they all happen right here during REM. Now, this is where things get really wild. Your brain goes through this incredible transformation during REM sleep. It's like it becomes a completely different machine. The parts in charge of rational thought and logic, yeah, they pretty much go quiet. Meanwhile, your emotional centers, like the amygdala, they go into absolute overdrive. And to stop you from, physically acting out these super intense emotions, your brainstem paralyzes your body. So think about that. You're a highly emotional, totally illogical mind trapped in a body that can't move. And here is a huge piece of the puzzle. There's this chemical in your brain called noradrenaline. It's the one that's linked to stress and anxiety. Well, during REM sleep, it basically disappears, vanishes. This chemical drop creates this really unique, low anxiety environment. It's almost like your brain is intentionally creating a safe space to process tough memories and experiences, but without all the usual stress chemicals freaking out. So, we've got the what, the where, and the how. But that brings us to the biggest question of all, here in section 3. The purpose of dreaming. I mean, why? Why does our brain go through this whole complicated show every single night? Well, there's no one simple answer, but there are some really powerful theories. Okay, theory number 1 is that dreaming is basically a form of overnight therapy. Remember that low anxiety state we just talked about? Well, by revisiting emotional stuff from your day in that state, your brain can kind of strip away the painful emotional charge. It helps you process difficult experiences and file them away as memories, but without all the stress attached. It's exactly why you can sometimes wake up feeling a lot better about something that was really bothering you the day before. Theory number 2 is all about memory and learning. Think of your brain like a librarian at the end of a really busy day. Dreaming is the process where it sorts through all the new information you've taken in, it replays things, strengthens the connections for memories that are actually important, and then decides what's just clutter that can be tossed out. This is a huge reason why a good night's sleep, one that's full of dreams, is so important when you're learning a new skill or studying for a test.
And the third big idea is called threat simulation theory. This one suggests that dreams are this primal evolutionary tool, kind of like a virtual reality simulator for your survival instincts. So those dreams where you're being chased, that could just be your brain rehearsing escape plans. The dream where you fail a test, it might be practicing how to handle social pressure and failure. It's a totally safe place to practice for life's dangers before you ever have to face them for real. Okay, so dreams help us process emotions, lock in memories, and practice for threats. It all seems pretty neat and tidy, right? Well, now we get to section 4, and here's the twist. The dream you remember when you wake up, it might not be the dream you actually had. Let's start with this wild concept called cryptomnesia. Basically, it's when a forgotten memory pops back up, but your brain doesn't recognize it as a memory. Instead, it presents it to you as a totally new idea, or, you guessed it, a new part of a dream. Have you ever dreamed of a name or a place you were sure was completely original, only to find out later that it's a real thing? Yeah, you probably just heard it in passing somewhere, your brain filed it away, and then served it back to you in a dream disguised as a brand new creation. And cryptomnesia is just one way our dream recall can get, well, a little glitchy. There's also something called source amnesia. That's when you remember a piece of information, but you have no idea where it came from. Was it in a dream, or did it happen in real life? And then there's confabulation. This is where your waking brain tries to make sense of a really bizarre dream fragment and just make stuff up to fill in the gaps and create a story that makes sense. So the dream you tell someone about is actually a mix of the real dream and some on-the-spot creative storytelling. So what this all means is that our memory of our dreams is incredibly easy to change. I mean, check this out. In one study, researchers gave people some subtle, false information about a dream they'd just reported. And when they were asked to recall that dream again later, a full 15% of them had woven those false suggestions into their memory. They were confident that it was part of their original dream. Our dream memories are not perfect recordings. They're more like fragile, living documents that can be edited, even after the fact. Now, I know this might make it sound like our brains are just messy and unreliable, but that very messiness is what leads us to our final section and honestly, maybe the most exciting part of dreaming. It is your creative superpower. Remember that unreliable narrator we were just talking about? It turns out that's not a flaw. It's the engine of creativity. Because those logical, rigid parts of your brain are turned way down during REM sleep, your mind is totally free to make connections it would never ever make when you're awake. It can link ideas and memories that seem completely unrelated. This bizarre state, it's not a bug, it's a feature. And this isn't just a cool theory either. History is absolutely filled with examples of huge breakthroughs that were born in dreams. Mary Shelley, she had a waking nightmare that gave her the entire vision for Frankenstein. Paul McCartney woke up one morning with the melody for Yesterday completely formed in his head, no joke. And the surreal melting clocks of Salvador Dali, straight from his dream imagery. Our dreams have shaped art, music, and science. It's why so many creative people keep a notepad by their bed to try and catch these brilliant ideas before they just vanish. Which leaves us with one last big thought. We know our dreams are this powerful mix of therapy, memory building, and creative problem solving. But we also know we forget almost all of them the second we wake up. So if your brain is working hard all night, finding creative solutions and coming up with brand new ideas, what brilliant answers are you forgetting on your pillow every single morning?